Hey y'all, I'm Tracy. Welcome to Just Dig It Farms. It is garlic planting time. Garlic has been used for centuries as a culinary and a medicinal plant, and it's probably been used by every major civilization throughout history. Allicin is the main ingredient in garlic that gives it that pungent odor and flavor, and that's what makes it have such high medicinal properties. It's an anti-inflammatory, it's really high in antioxidants, it's great in immune boosting, it's really good for heart health, it's good for bone health, it's good for brain health. It helps with high blood pressure, with cholesterol. It helps to fight off colds and flus and sicknesses. Garlic just has a lot of great medicinal properties. So it's really, really good if you can include garlic in your diet every day in some form or fashion. Garlic is also great to keep the mosquitoes from biting you. When we were in Guatemala one time, we had a team of young people with us and we were hiking in the jungle. And there was one young man, his name was Caleb, and he always smelled of garlic, but the mosquitoes didn't bother him. And there was like a giant, as big as your hand, mosquitoes in Guatemala, and they'd drive you crazy. He always ate like just a raw clove of garlic, and that kept the mosquitoes from ever bothering him. So we all started eating raw cloves of garlic, and we were a team of some stinky Americans, but we did not have mosquitoes biting us. Jean takes garlic every day here at the farm. We make up something we call honey medicine, and it's just honey from our bees. It's turmeric, and it's garlic cloves and black pepper and cinnamon and clove and nutmeg and some essential oils that I put in there. And it's just really good for heart health, cholesterol. It helps keep the mosquitoes off Jean. It's just got high blood pressure. There's a lot of great things that honey medicine is good for. It helps detox your liver. There's just a lot of great things. And Jean takes like a tablespoon or two every morning, and I do occasionally. I'm not as good about taking it as he is, but he takes it every day. And Jean's mom and dad takes it, and I have my mom taking it. So honey medicine is like a staple for us. I did a video on us making that last year, so I'll put a link to that above. Now, because of that pungent odor that garlic has, it also makes it an awesome companion plant in the garden. Probably one of the best companion plants in the garden. It's a natural pest and fungus deterrent, and it's compatible with almost every plant. It doesn't take up much room in your garden, and there's not a lot of root competition going on. So it's just a really great plant to use to interplant with other plants. And it's a really good pest deterrent. It deters things like codlin moth, fungus gnats, aphids, ants. There's just a lot of insects that it deters or it repels. So it's a really good companion not only in your vegetable garden, but it's a great companion with roses. It's a great companion with fruit trees. Out in the orchard where our fruit trees are, especially like the stone fruits that get that codlin moth and insects really bad, I took, like here's my fruit tree, and I just took and planted a ring of garlic around each fruit tree just to help deter some of those pests that attack it a lot. So I use garlic in every garden as a companion. It is just an awesome companion because of that strong pungent odor. A lot of your insects don't like it. Even rabbits and deer, it could help deter them a little bit. So garlic is a great companion plant. Now let's talk about the different kinds of garlic. There's hardnecks and there's softnecks. Now hardneck garlic has more of a pungent flavor, and it's more cold hardy, so it's better for like your northern climates. Now I can still grow it here. I'm a southern climate and a more mild temperate climate, but I can grow the hardneck and the softneck as well here. Now the hardnecks, they don't store as well as the softnecks. What happens is, I've got some hardnecks here to show you. Let's see. Like this one is a hardneck garlic. So this center stem right here is hard. It's a really hard center stem that comes from the center of the garlic, and it'll come up and it'll create a scape. And that scape is really good. It tastes really good. It has a really mild garlicky flavor. And it's really good like on salads and a lot of different things. Scapes are good. But it shoots up this center stalk. It's a really hard center. It shoots up the center stalk, makes a scape. And if you leave that scape, it'll actually turn into another bulb. Now you really don't want that to happen, because then all the energy is going into creating and keeping that bulb alive instead of going into the cloves that's under the ground. So what you want to do when that scape comes up, you want to harvest it and eat it and use it. It's really good. They have a thinner paper layer and fewer cloves, really. Like, they don't have layers of cloves. They have fewer cloves. And the paper, and they're easier to peel than the Softnecks. They're going to be a lot easier to peel, and they're fewer layers of cloves. Because the layers of the paper and all is thinner, they don't store as well. So the hardnecks aren't really great for storage. They might store for like 6 months or so, but they don't have as long of a storage life as your Softnecks will. So what you really need to remember about your hardnecks is they're better for colder climates. They make scapes. They have less covering on them, so they don't store as well. And they have a little bit more of a pungent flavor as well. Next is the Softnecks. So this is a Softneck, and this center that's coming up is just soft. It's bendable and soft, which makes these kind really good for braiding. Like if you want to braid garlic. I haven't ever done it. I'd usually just store my garlic bulbs, but I am definitely going to try it this year. So this is Softneck, makes it easy for braiding. And the thing about Softnecks is they do better in warmer climates. And they have more layers. They have more paper layers. They're a little bit harder to peel. They have a lot more paper layers and more bulb layers too. You actually get more cloves. But because of all these paper layers and covering that it has, it stores longer. So this one has a better storage life, even up to a year. And these actually have a little bit milder, sweeter flavor. Fall is the best time to plant your garlic. So about 30 days before your first frost. Now my first frost date is around November 11th. And I usually try to get my garlic in the ground by the end of September or the first part of October. That's when I like to plant my garlic. You don't want to plant too early because you don't want to have too much growth on it when we do get that first frost, because then it will freeze it and kill it. You want just a little bit of growth coming up, maybe like, I don't know, 2 to 4 inches or so. You want a little bit of growth coming up. But you don't want it to have a whole lot of growth on it before that freeze, because then the freeze will kill it. So my window, I'm Central Alabama, Zone 8, and my first frost date is November the 11th. So my window of getting my garlic in the ground is, for me, it's usually about the end of September. The first part of October is when I like to get it in the ground. And then it's going to be staying in the ground all through fall, all through winter, all through spring. So I really won't be harvesting this garlic until July. It'll be ready about July. And you'll know it's ready because the stem that's coming up will start turning brown and just kind of limping over. And then you know your cloves of garlic are ready to harvest. Now when you're planting your garlic, you really want to use a certified seed garlic. If you use the garlic in the grocery store, if you just buy a clove of garlic in the grocery store and use it, a lot of times they spray those with a sprout inhibitor to keep it from sprouting so fast. Because when you're buying culinary garlic to cook with, you don't want it to start sprouting. But when you're putting it in the ground and planting it, you want it to start sprouting. So a lot of times the grocery store garlic is sprayed with a sprout inhibitor. So you really want to try to get a certified seed garlic. And what I get here, this one is also non-GMO, it's GMO free. And this one is Spanish Roja is the name of this one. And this is actually a hardneck garlic. And this one is California garlic, and it's also GMO free. And this one is a soft neck garlic. So when you get your packet of garlic, you'll get like this one. Let's see. You'll get a whole clove. There's actually 3 whole cloves in here. And see, this is a soft neck. What you're going to want to do is take this whole clove and peel off all of the individual garlic cloves. You get a lot of cloves on one head. And you don't want to take off this skin. There's a hard skin on it. You don't want to peel that off. You definitely want to keep that hard skin on there because that's going to protect the bulb and keep it from getting too moist and from rotting. See, I'm getting a lot of cloves off of this one head of garlic. Even these little baby ones I'm going to plant. So I ended up, from that one head, I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 cloves of garlic that I can plant from that one head. And I got 3 in my bag. Now look at this one. This is the Spanish Roja, which is the hard neck. And look at the difference in this. See how easy that was to break off and to peel? And there's not layers and layers of cloves. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And see that hard stem? See the difference in the hard neck and soft neck? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So on the hard neck, I only got 10 cloves per head. Now I also have these garlic cloves here that were from my garden last year that I saved. What you want to do is you want to take the best cloves. You want to save the healthiest, best cloves from your previous harvest, and that becomes your seed garlic for your next year. So the garlic that I planted last year was basically the same ones as I planted, as I'm planting this year. The Spanish Roja, the California garlic. I think I planted some elephant garlic last year, which actually is really a leek. I think it's more considered a leek. So I've got quite a few garlic. And if I fill my bed up, I've got a whole bed that I'm going to be planting with garlic this year. And if I fill my bed up and I have more left over, I'll be adding some out in my orchard too around my fruit trees again. So this is how I like to do it. I've got my seed starting tray here, and it's got these dividers in it where you put the little cell packs in there, so it's just recycled. And I put my package labels down in the bottom, and then I put all my cloves in each section because I like to keep things labeled in my garlic and know what was what. And I like to go ahead and get all of my cloves separated out before I get out in the garden. And keep them all separated in these little dividers. And that way I can remember what I'm planting where. So I'm just going to sit here and get all of my cloves separated out and ready for planting. And then we'll head to the garden. Here's what I've ended up with. I've got a lot of garlic cloves. I'm excited about this. This is the Spanish, and this is a hard neck. This one is, I don't know the name of it. It just said garlic. It was a packet that I picked up at Tractor Supply, but it was a soft neck. And these two here are the California, and they're both soft necks. And then this is a mixture of the seed garlic that I grew from last year. So this is a mixture of hard necks and soft necks. Got all of this garlic to put in the potager garden, and hopefully I'll have some left over to put around my fruit trees in the orchard. Chase pulled up all the okra out of this bed for me. I went in and remade my rows, and he added some of my chicken compost to the rows. So I'm ready to plant. Now, as with all root crops, they really like a good loose loamy, rich soil so that the roots can move down in it and have room to grow. Also, you need to have soil that's going to have good drainage. Like my soil has a lot of sand content in it and it has really good drainage. But if that bulb gets too wet and it's going to be cold, it's going to be wintertime. So if it's too wet and cold, the bulb will rot. You also want to have full sun. Garlic is a heavy feeder, so you definitely want to add some good nitrogen-rich compost in your rows in the ground before you plant your garlic bulbs. And something else you got to remember is this is late September now, and it's going to be July before I harvest. So this garlic is going to be in the ground for a long time. So you really want to add some good nitrogen-rich compost to your soil before you plant. When spring comes, I'll come in and fertilize with Garden Tone. I use Garden Tone, it's an Espoma organic product, and I use it on a lot of my other vegetables in the spring. So I'll come back in then and give all of my garlic a good dose of fertilizer then. I like to plant garlic a couple of different ways. So if I'm planting it just like around my fruit trees or around my roses or whatever, I'll just kind of hollow me out a little hole, stick it down in there good, and then cover it up with soil. And then I'll just do that around my fruit trees or wherever I'm putting it. In this bed, I've got rows. I'm doing 3 full rows of garlic cloves, because what's going to happen is right behind each row of garlic, next year will be my rows of tomatoes. Tomatoes and garlic are great companions. So I like to always plant garlic and basil with my tomatoes. So on these rows, they're wide enough that I've got space for my garlic, I've got space for my basil and marigolds, and I've got space for my tomatoes. So my garlic is actually going to the front edge of each row. So I've made my trenches here, and I'm going to be putting my garlic down in the trench. And remember, I've already put compost in here. So by the time I get my soil over my clove, it's going to end up being planted about 4 inches deep. Now this garlic head will get about 2 inches wide. So I want to plant them right around 4 inches apart as well. So it's about 2 to 4 inches deep and about 4 inches apart is how I like to space mine. Now when you're planting your garlic, this is where your roots are going to develop. The tip is where your stem's going to come up. So you want to plant this part down, this part up. And I just go through here and put all my little garlic cloves about 4 inches apart, like this. And then I'll come back and cover them over with the soil. Now if I had some biotone, I would be putting it in my trenches too to help with root development. But I still haven't got any. Now the next step is to just water those bulbs in really good. And then I'll just keep a check on it throughout the rest of fall. And if we have like a dry season, which usually October for us is usually pretty dry, I'll just be keeping a check on it, and I'll just come in and give it some water when I feel like it's dry and it needs some. But then throughout the winter, I'll basically just leave it alone. And then when the little sprouts start popping up, I'll come in and put a light layer of mulch over the top of that row just to help keep with weed control. And also it helps to hold the moisture in, and a covering is just always a good thing. It's just always a good thing to put a layer of mulch and a covering over everything that you plant. It keeps the soil from being exposed to the sun and to the elements. It holds moisture in, and it helps with weed control. So I always try to put a good layer of mulch on top of everything that I do. And basically, guys, that's it. That's it for planting your garlic. You don't want to miss this window. You want to get your garlic in this fall so that it'll be ready to harvest in the summertime, and you can have some awesome garlic to get you through the whole year. I hope y'all found this video helpful, and if you did, please give it a like. If you have not yet subscribed, I would be most grateful if you go subscribe to our channel and join our community. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. God bless y'all, and I'll catch you on the next video.